This is To Your Coffee, where random individuals sit on a couch and tell a story completely of their own choosing. We've done this to immortalize people and their stories and to just have some fun.
Okay. No, I actually write for my left hand profile. No, yes, I'm left-handed. It's called lobotomy. Is this allowed?
All right, so this one is a little bit different. It's not a story per se. The topic of this is that you were born with a brain tumor. What was that experience like? Just tell me the
The rundown.
Yeah, give me the basic rundown.
Okay, so the rundown was, so as a kid, even from the moment that I was born, I feel like people should have already clocked that something's wrong because I did not ingest liquids, ingest foods as much as other babies. I was born also really tiny. So as a kid growing up, I didn't really have a lot of appetite. I can't keep food down. You know, I kid you not, every single morning I would wake up and vomit, like without, having eaten anything, just wake up, vomit. Always had headaches, had memory problems. Also, I was kind of a bald kid, so that was really embarrassing. It was that kind of thing where, you kind of know that there's a problem, but people around you didn't really know what it was. Like, for example, I always got headaches. That ended up with me kind of wanting to skip school and stuff. And then obviously my parents are like, oh yeah, I don't know if it's because, she's being rebellious or if there's something wrong with her. And then
at what age did they diagnose it?
It led up. So all these headaches, sleepiness, it all led up to one day in 2007.
And you were 10 at the time?
Yeah, I was 9, 10 at that time. All of that led up to that one day where as soon as I wake up, I puked, which is kind of normal. But then throughout the day, just no matter what I eat, what I drank, I couldn't keep anything down, so I kept vomiting anything that came into my system. And then I couldn't stop sleeping, after every time I fell asleep, I woke up, I started puking, and then I would go back to sleep and start that cycle continues. So then obviously my parents were sent me to the A&E. And honestly, the next thing I knew, I was being wheeled into, the operating studio because they were like, if you waited a second longer, she would have been in a coma for the rest of her life. And then they had to start operating because the size of the tumor, I guess, it just got way too big to the point that, obviously if you wait any longer, you're literally gonna die. For me, I always sort of thought it was normal because, I just grew up with it, right? I always thought, headaches are normal every day, not being able to remember stuff. That's pretty normal. I'm still a kid.
Yeah.
They always thought that I had headaches, but maybe it's just a chronic migraine thing that...
It wasn't anything that bad that you need to get tested up until that day.
Yeah, it really wasn't. So, yeah, even the things with hair loss as well, it was kind of that thing where, people see you not eat much, then obviously your head thinks, because your body's trying to self-preserve, your hair just keeps falling off. But yeah, apparently that's not normal as well. So,
and were you born with it for sure?
I definitely, because from what I heard from my mom, even right from the start when I was born, when babies, am I allowed to say this? Suck their mom. When babies suck their mom's breast milk, breastfeed.
Yeah. That's the word.
Yeah, breastfeed. So my mom was telling me when I was breastfeeding, even then I wouldn't even drink a lot.
Yeah.
And for example, those baby bottles that, babies are supposed to devour in a second or some shit like that. I couldn't even finish that bottle. And at some point they had to switch from that to formula milk to make sure I had enough nutrients. But
And you've mentioned to me before about how those years up until the tumor got removed feel kind of dreamlike. Can you talk a bit about that?
yeah, they were just kind of hazy, I think. Like, I would remember very specific events. So, it's this one time where, as true Giselle fashion, I vomit again in the morning. And my grandma found out that I was vomiting, and she got really annoyed at me. Because prior to that, she had warned me that if I do puke again, something bad is going to happen to me. Like,
And do they think at this point that it's like, maybe a thing that kids do for like attention, or do they think it's?
oh yeah,
do they think it's like
definitely. My grandma got really, really pissed off, barged into the toilet, and she was like, okay, so you want to puke. You want to puke so much. Let me see how you look like that when you go to school then. So she scooped up the puke from the sink, wiped it all over my face, waited for it to dry, and then brought me to school. So we were walking halfway. We're just walking to school. I was there like, I don't know what to do. Like, I mean, I'll just go with the flow because I don't know. Like,
And this is
maybe.
in Singapore.
Yeah, this was in Singapore. So so she was a bit crazy for that. And we actually got to walking halfway to the nursery. And then she stopped and turned around and she was like, you better not do this again because like this time is just a warning. The next time you're actually going to school with this. And in my mind, I was just like, oh, well, maybe I should hide this then. So after that day, literally whenever I start puking in the morning, I would do it really silently. So I've heard horror stories from my parents that sometimes it took me 4 or 5 hours to finish like a small bowl of noodles.
Wow.
And yeah, it's because the brain tumor is sitting on the part of the brain that affects appetite, affects, your memory, your motor functions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So for the longest time, oh my God, my parents don't know I did this. I used to chew really fucking quick.
Yeah.
Chew really quick and be like, hey guys, I really need to piss right now. And then I would not swallow the food. I would spit that food out in the bins and be like, okay, yay, you guys, I finished my food. Like, I'm not trying to get in trouble, So I think, for the longest time, maybe that also contributed to my malnutrition.
And after the tumor was removed, what were the years after that like? Like, did you find all of these things affecting you then?
Like, honestly, after my brain tumor got out, it was genuinely like a fog lifted because it was like suddenly I had appetite again, Like, suddenly I wasn't as sleepy as I used to be. Like, suddenly I can walk better, whereas in the past I used to lose balance all the time, that type of stuff. What else? Yeah, all of a sudden I was growing because for the longest time I was just the smallest kid, like literally lightweight. And then suddenly I started growing. So yeah, it was pretty cool. Yeah, it was pretty cool. But then, do you know what the coolest part is though? Having no school for like 2-3 months. That was the coolest thing for a 10-year-old, I would argue. And also, I think the nightmare was waking up. So first of all, I didn't even realize that I was going into surgery. So then all my family members were just waving to me goodbye, wheeling me into the operating theater, right? I had no clue that this is real life. I mean, I sort of had consciousness, but also, so I was just like, yeah, bye you guys. Like, I'll totally see you guys again. Like, see you when I get out or something. And like, I didn't know how sad that was. I didn't realize how sad that was until maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah, 'cause
where
you
it
mentioned
was.
that it was recently where you kind of really understood what your parents were going through at the time, because it was really obviously very difficult for them as well.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, I didn't hear my parents' versions of the story until maybe 2 years ago.
You haven't really let this like affect you that much today. Tell me about that and tell me how come you think that you're quite comfortable accepting this.
I think the experience, like the aftermath of the operation, really also helped in that process where it wasn't like my recovery was crazy bad. In fact, I had so much fun during my recovery.
It's almost like getting rid of it was so lovely that you forgot all about having it in a way.
Yeah, in that way, in
And
that
also-
sense. It definitely felt like a dream, and like having that operation really woke me up in
My
a
last
sense.
question is if you feel like today, Giselle sitting in front of us, do you feel like it's affecting you now, all this entire experience, in any positive or negative way?
I wouldn't say effect. I think I would say it shaped my, I guess, perception. Just like perception of, how a lot of illnesses are not seen, a lot of, things that people are going through that you might think, oh, it's just another one of their mannerisms, or it's just another one of their tics. But then you never know what's really going on behind the scenes. Like, they may not even know.
Did your grandmother ever find out about the tumor? And how did she react?
Oh, yeah, she was there. I mean, like, she was really heartbroken that I had a tumor, but also I think she felt guilty. But then some things, especially with grandparents, some things are not said. Where, you know that they're very sorry, that they're trying to apologize, but they do it in such a roundabout. That's literally her, where sometimes I make fun of her. I'm like, remember that time? And she's like, I gotta go.
Do you remember anything after you had it removed, like eating anything, and you were like, oh my gosh, this tastes amazing? Like, do you remember some of the first things you
That's a really good question. Like, okay, so
Like Parmesan cheese.
I remember. Okay, so remember how I said I really like hospital food? Genuinely, the hospital food tasted so good, and like it's generic, bland hospital food. But then I think, yeah, after the brain tumor got out, I don't know, maybe the taste. Like the taste came back. I don't know, something happened, but the eggs were so yummy. Why does oatmeal taste so yummy? Like, why is it so sweet? Like, why are all these textures not as irritating as I thought it'd be? But they were so yummy. Eggs.
So I really genuinely like I respect you so much for like the way you.
Oh,
you've gone through it, and it's
thanks.
such a unique perspective.
Well,
And I'm
it's
sure
easy to brave when you're a child,
Yeah, we're gonna go back.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you, Jazz.
Thank you.
Bye.